My name is Corey, and I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Little at Peoria Branch Library. What branch of the military did you serve in?
United States Navy.
What did it feel like?
It was a good experience, and at the time when I went in, I was 19, and when I came out, I was 23, so I was in for 4 years, and I got a chance to see a lot of the world. We'll go to bed, seeing water, wake up, seeing water, move out at sea, out in the ocean. And it was a good experience, and you see storms out there. And we operated out the Bahamas, so we would go to St. Thomas, St. Troy, St. Crocus. In '71, we made a European cruise, have been to the Arctic Circle, top of the world. And we've been to the land of the midnight sun where it never gets dark. You see when it's cloudy, a haze gray, and that's it. At 4 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it never gets dark. It just stays a haze gray, and that's it. Oslo, Norway, London, England, Southampton, and Copenhagen, Denmark. So it's an adventure. You get to travel, see a lot of things, and give you a chance to mature.
What made you choose that branch?
The Navy, an adventure, something different, because the Army was doing a lot of drafting at that particular time. It was during the Vietnam War, and I thought, get a chance to join the Navy, and that was a recruiting slogan: join the Navy and see the world. So I went on an adventure.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted. The Navy doesn't draft.
Where were you living at the time you joined the military?
I was living in Peoria, Illinois at 1802 West 7th Street, which is now Martin Luther King Drive.
What do you recall from your first days in the service?
The first day in the service, just a bunch of new people, and everybody's coming is new, so everybody's pretty much in the situation, and we just trying to make ourselves friendly to each other, because we know that it's a new experience for everybody there. So we try and make adjustments, to see what's going to be required of us.
Tell me about your boot camp experiences.
Boot camp experiences are always challenging, because this is the preparation that you go through to prepare yourself for the service that you're about to perform, in terms of relationship, responsibility, duty, conduct, and it's a training section for preparation, and most boot camps are difficult, and they give you a chance to transition and make the adjustment that you're going to need, to complete your tour.
How did you get through it?
I got through it fairly easy. There were some rough spots, but that's with everybody, and everything's one day at a time, and nobody's perfect. If you make a mistake, you learn from your mistakes and you move on to the next thing.
Do you remember your instructors?
From boot camp, no. I can remember the people in charge on the USS Compass Island that I served on, and I remained on the same ship all 4 years of my tour in the Navy. So that was a lot easier. The people, when I first went on there, probably had the same captain for 4 years, Captain Bonds. Then we had, he was the captain, then you had next the executive officer. Then you would go down to the engineering, and we had Commander Hickey. He was over engineering for, everybody in the engineering room on the ship. And then we had Chief Wright. He was a petty officer. He was on the enlisted side. Then we had Mr. Sherburne. He was a WO4 warrant officer. He was commissioned, but he wasn't The warrant officers are enlisted men who receive a commission, and most times what they call a 90-day wonder is a person with a college degree where you have the Naval Academy. You come out with the rank of officer. In the Navy, you start out the lowest rate is what they call an ensign. Then you have a lieutenant JG, that's a lieutenant junior grade. Then you go to lieutenant. Then you have what is called a lieutenant commander. From a lieutenant commander to a commander, then you would have a captain. Then the Navy goes from captain, and there's what they call a commodore sometimes. Then there's a rear admiral. Then there's a fleet admiral. And Zumor was the head of the naval fleet at the time that I was in, Admiral Zumor. And he was a full admiral, and he was head of naval operations.
Which war did you serve in?
I served during the Vietnam War.
Where exactly did you go?
For us, we, being on the ship, ballistic missiles, and we test instruments out. It was California Computer, RCA, IBM, and that's when they had these smart bombs and these missiles and stuff. At the time I was in it, they were developing this technology to do the things that they're able to do today. See, that was 40-some years, about 43, 44 years ago when I was in it. Things have changed tremendously.
Do you remember arriving and what was it like?
It was different. Arriving at boot camp is one thing, then arriving on the ship that I was to do duty was completely different, because it was in Brooklyn Naval Yard, New York. You know, you had to fly into LaGuardia and get me a cab, then, you know, try to find out, you know, give them an address, and there's what they call a naval receiving station. To find your way to that, then they, you know, direct you, you know, to where your ship is located at.
What was your job?
I did a variety of jobs. I ran the boiler room, and what we did, we supplied 600 pounds of steam. I was what they call an oil king, and when we receive fuel, I run a centrifuge test for fuel. We might take on 500,000 gallons of fuel, and I would get a sample, run a centrifuge to see how much water was in the oil. I test that to make sure that it was a quality that it met the standard. Then every day, I would what they call salinity, that's salt, a dissolved oxygen test. I would run one every day on the boilers to make sure they're within a range. Then we have like a compound that we use to treat them, because water scales up if it's hard. So we would keep everything within range, and after a period of time, like with anything else, you still would have to go into what they call the dry dock, and that's when you pull in the dry docks, the water, you pull in on water, they set the ship that goes in on blocks. Then they let all this water out, and this ship is sitting on these blocks, and what they call yardbirds. They came in, a lot of work we would do ourselves, but some of the work we would have to pull into a dry dock, and what they call yardbirds or ship workers, you know, they would do certain jobs.
Did you see combat?
No, I didn't see any comeback. No more than fighting those big 50-foot waves out at sea. And you know, we hit the storm, and you would see the ocean would be just as calm as glass. You wouldn't see one ripple in, and you know, in a day or two, there's this big storm or brewing. And the storm, like we could run 21 knots, a knot is 1.3 miles per hour. So when you say a knot is like a mile is 1, a knot is 1.3. and we, be trying to get out of the way of the storm. We could run 22 knots. That was our full speed, and that was a challenging thing because it's just like a little rubber ducky in a bathtub splashing around. When the ocean is that fierce, and I don't know, this recent last year, year before, that big tanker that went through that storm that went down with that billion-dollar cargo. When you get up, that sea is so fierce. I mean, it just takes you up and slams you down, and it just boom, 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 and that ship seems big, but on the ocean it's not.
Were there many assaultics in your unit?
Say that again?
Were there many assaultics in your unit?
No.
What are some of your most memorable experiences?
The European cruise, I say European cruise, European tour, and I say cruise because people would say, you're coming over here and you didn't pay anything, but they didn't realize out at sea, we worked over 16 hours a day because you would have turn to commence ship's work. Then you would have to stand watches because when you're at sea, this was the norm. And when we would go to fun places like the Bahamas, and there would be a duty section, there would be a section that was what we call liberty. And sometimes you get a 2-day liberty, sometimes you get a 3-day liberty. This is in one of the ports where we pulled into. And to go to the Bahamas island, Nassau was nice, then to go to Southampton, England, to go to London, England, to go to Oslo, Norway. And when you pull in, you see this island, and with the sunset, it's a beautiful, beautiful scenery.
Were you a prisoner of war?
No.
Were you awarded any medals or any citations?
I got some citations. I got the National Defense Medal, which is issued, to all military people.
How did you get them?
Being a good sailor, and when I say being a good, performing the task that they would have us do, satisfactory.
What was your rank in the military?
I was an E4 Petty Officer, 3rd class.
How did you stay in touch with your family while you were away?
Writing letters and phone calls.
What was the food like?
Some days very good, some days very bad.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
Yes, we had plenty of supplies. There were times that is one of the things about being in the Navy. And when you go out to sea, and if you're out there 15, 20 days, fresh stuff isn't fresh anymore, and what happens, you always want to use your old stuff before you get into your new stuff. And everybody said, well, the stuff isn't very good, let's get some of this. But you can't do that because what happens, the old stuff, you have to use it first because it gets to where it's no longer usable after, a certain period of time. So you have to use the old stuff, then get to the new stuff.
Tell me about the stress or pressure you experienced.
Well, going out to sea in itself, sometimes it's a challenge, and to be out on the water and the ship is being tossed to and fro, and we would go to where what is called foul weather all hands stayed below deck. Then we had cables that ran along the side of the ship. And when you went outside, you'd have to hold on to them because the wind would blow you away. And we would have a guy on the bridge and one forward aft, and he'd be on the 2JB system, talking to the bridge. And you could get a wave to bring your ship up and slam it down, and that water would come over the top, and having to be in stormy weather, it's always, I won't say stressful, but you have to use a lot of caution because, the wind is swirling like that. That wind will just blow you away in a heartbeat.
Was there something special you did for good luck?
Prayed all the time.
How did people entertain themselves?
When we were out at sea, a lot of times we played cards, we weren't going anyplace, we're out there on the ocean, and between the time of, say, doing the ship's work and standing your watches, or sometimes between meals, get 15, 20 minutes or half an hour, play cards.
Were there entertainers brought in?
No entertainers brought in on the ship.
Where all did you travel while in the service?
I went to Newport, Rhode Island. I went to Norfolk, Virginia, Cocoa Beach, Florida, Port Everglades, Nassau, the Bahamas, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. Crocus, top of the world, to the Arctic Circle, to Copenhagen, Denmark, to Oslo, Norway, to Copenhagen, Denmark. I've been to Holland and a few other places.
Do you recall any unusual events?
No, because the events were pretty much, once you've been in for a while, you kind of adjust and you kind of not let yourself be open to any surprises. You kind of take everything in normal stride to where you make adjustments, whatever situations arise.
Do you have photographs from when you were in the service?
Yes, I do.
What did you think of the officers or fellow soldiers?
Yeah, we as a unit, collectively, we work together because in the Navy, everything is confined, and even for your sleeping quarters, you have 3 bunks, 1, 2, 3. So that is something that where, you have harmony because everything is in close quarters. It's not like when you're on the ship, you're not going to go any place when we're out at sea. So it's a confinement thing. So everybody, basically, good relationship.
Tell me about the day your service ended.
That was a day that, because at that particular time, and they were giving, if you extended or what they would call re-enlist, like they would give you $15,000 if you would, do another tour. And the day that I got out, I had my sea bag on, and I never even considered re-enlisting. I figured 4 years was enough. And I had my sea bag, and I was thinking, let me get to LaGuardia Airport so I can get a plane to Chicago, to Peoria, and I can be home again, and I don't have to go to bed seeing water, wake up seeing water. And I did get seasick sometimes, too, when you come in, and that's a bad, bad feeling. There were people who couldn't make the adjustment. And they did get out because I can remember that commode throwing up, just eating some peppermint and crackers, and That's a bad feeling when you get seasick. What are you gonna do? You got this motions and you don't know all this water. So that in itself, but you get to where you get past that. And so much of it is psychological. And whenever we would go out, the tugboats would always come because the ship is so big. And, we had the Brooklyn Bridge we had to go under coming in. And there would be tugboats on the side guiding, directing the ship. And when you knew you were going out psychologically, sometimes you could feel yourself getting the motion sick and you ain't even left it. Just anticipation, finna go out here and we know in this water. But we did have fin stabilizers sometimes when the sea was calm, just like we sitting here. We could go in the gym and play basketball and not twist an ankle because we had a smooth ride sometimes. And there was sometimes to be in bad weather, you could be at the table eating and your chair just slide away. The ship takes a big roll. So it was, some challenges, but it is something where, you adjust to, and every day is an adventure.
What did you do in the days and weeks afterward?
After I got out of service, I came and I probably took me about a month vacation, and I just kind of took it easy. And then I was already working at Caterpillar Tractor Company, so I just went back to work.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
Yes, because we had four guys. Otis Bell, Leroy Jones, Dexter Ray, and Leon Jackson. They lived in Chicago. That's about the closest, thing in Illinois. Then I had Dave. He lived in Birmingham, Alabama. And we got to be, good friends. So we would all, we were in port. We'd all go out together, have a good time.
Did you continue any of those relationships?
Yes, for a little while.
Are you involved in any veterans organizations?
Not at this particular time. I've gotten, I'll be 70 years old in September. I'm 69 now, so I leave that for the young people.
What did you go on to do as a career after the military?
Yeah, I worked at Caterpillar Tractor Company for 45 years and 2 months, and that's my 35-year anniversary being there. I've been retired 9 years now.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
It is. The military is such a valuable tool that world freedom and the basis of our military is for a free world, and we need to always have a strong military, a strong defense that prevents war. When you're strong, you have a voice in this world.
How did your service and experience affect your life?
A lot of discipline, because in the military there's no such thing as being tardy. When I say there's no such, being late has consequences. When you have muster, everybody has to be there. Because if anybody's not there, you're AWOL. Anytime you don't report to where you're supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be there, you're AWOL. So it taught a lot of discipline, being on time, being effective and efficient.
Is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
Yes, the military would be a good experience for a lot of people, and I know in these times we see so much conflict in the world, and a strong military can prevent a lot of things. And the things that it does not prevent, it can help straighten out to where we can have world peace, where we have the United Nations, and we've seen this Syria, to where that chemical attack, we say with the chlorine, and they made a few strikes on the facility. This was done basically, the French, the U.S., and the English were the ones that carried out this attack, but they carried it out with the blessings of the United Nations. And this is a deterrent for people who do this, because there are penalties when you kill innocent people. And there were babies, there were kids, and everybody probably seen the news that, such a horrific thing. And, when you have a tyrant in control, most people value their life, and most people, when I say value their life, but you have some people, they value their life, but they don't value anybody else's. And that's the thing. And life is life, and death is death, and no life is no greater than the other. You can say less than, all life do matter.